Howdy, folks. Today we're looking at Superman #1 from 1939 in DC Comics in facsimile form. In the space of a single year, the world of comic books changed completely, with the burgeoning medium kickstarted by the advent of a new kind of adventure strip character. It wasn't just that Superman was a hit, but that Superman was a big enough hit to change the course of American publishing. There's an ad in the back of the book for the most current issue of Action Comics, 14, announcing America's leading comic magazine, and it wasn't an exaggeration. The success of Superman led the entire industry into a new era increasingly dominated by the prevalence of long underwear characters. Not just the Batman, as seen in Action's sister title Detective, but soon across the rest of the industry as well, once other companies started to horn in on the superhero action. The success of Superman led inevitably to today's specimen, the first issue of the character's own solo magazine, uncluttered by any of the hangers-on who still populated the back pages of the parent title. Most of the issues reprints, the Superman features from the first 4 issues of Action, already highly prized. They weren't called collector's items yet because the idea of collecting these flimsy magazines wasn't even a twinkle on the horizon. But by the summer of 1939, the audience for Superman was already large and growing, enough so that the nascent Detective Comics Incorporated could fill an entire magazine, mostly with reprints, for an enthusiastic audience who may have missed out on the first salvos. The first issue offers a clean and unobstructed vision of Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster's version of the character, without any of the clutter introduced by later creators. This is a more aesthetic Superman. His supporting cast is down to one person, Lois Lane, there from the very first. We know he's from the doomed planet Krypton, a large world whose strong gravity gives its inhabitants great strength on Earth, but we don't even know the names of his parents, and we certainly know nothing about his dog or his cousin. The mythos was still being created as they went along, but it's important to recognize that Siegel and Shuster didn't really seem that invested in the lore. It makes sense from a modern perspective to want to see all the lore nailed down, but the mythology was only a secondary concern to what Superman's creators clearly cared about, which was that Superman, at his most elemental, was devoted to righting wrongs and fighting injustice on a very human scale. After his earliest appearances righting small-time injustices at home, Superman leaves the country for his first foray into geopolitics, fighting to stop a war in the country of San Monte being ginned up by a munitions magnate. After that, he spends a whole story completely out of costume, working undercover to force a crooked mine owner to pay for proper safety precautions. This Superman is surprisingly ruthless, perfectly willing to blackmail and physically intimidate the wealthy. The villains in these early stories are almost all wealthy men, using their money and power irresponsibly. It's only the final story that offers a slightly different focus. Superman goes undercover as a college football star in order to flush out racketeers infiltrating the gridiron. Here we get a few pages of Superman cutting loose on the athletic field, a taste of another kind of wish fulfillment altogether.